fun and games that central bankers have, hey? So Powell's, the market reacted to Powell, particularly in stocks, and that he produced a 75 basis points move as expected. You can see here interest rates, the headline interest rates now around 4%, but it was the higher for longer. He said he'd rather the market or the economy to go into a recession, which they can deal with, rather than inflation to stay rampant for longer. And they're keeping an eye on jobs, and there's a lot of slack left in the market, jobs market. I.e., what he means by that is that here you can see there's 10 million job openings, but there's not enough people in the country to fill those jobs, and that's kind of inflationary, right? So there's obviously there's a lot of companies looking to hire people to support the demand that's there, but there's not enough people to supply that demand. So demand needs to come down. So the job openings need to come down, and job unemployment needs to go up to kind of reduce the inflationary pressures, and that's what he's monitoring. Also monitoring inflation, which we get next week. So we'll have later in this week. We'll have on Friday night we get the US job numbers, which he's monitoring. And next week we get the inflation numbers, which on Thursday night in Australia, we get the inflation numbers, which he's also monitoring. So with those two factors in sight, and the higher for longer, the market certainly reacted strongly with that, and the US dollar certainly got bid. It was weaker on the number. You can see here it sold off on when they raised the interest rates only by 75 basis points, but then his press conference turned that around when it was higher for longer. And I think that the market has now gone, oops, we were wrong, and this uptrend may still be in place. Personally, I think we're still in a downtrend until proven otherwise, i.e. we get a higher high. Yeah. So right now, I'll be on the fence until that is shown in the actual price feed. Euro dollar was through my zone, and again it's in an uptrend until proven otherwise. I.e., we need to see a lower low, so I'll be sitting on the sidelines on that one. One interesting note was the bond market. Barely moved. When you look at the daily, it hasn't moved all that much. Still close to that 4% mark, but yeah, it also interest rates or yields dipped on the figure, but then went higher on the back of his. We're going to have interest rates higher for longer until inflation is under control. Looking into the stock markets, not a pretty picture, and the Christmas rallies pretty much all but over, I would suggest. And S&P is about to make a bust through this level, which is a bit of a key level. If it does that, then we'll be looking at these lows down here. Nasdaq has already gone through that level, closed above it, but is certainly well on its way to making new lows, and don't really care about the Dow. So that's where we're at. I think the stocks are going to continue to weaken, which is supportive of US dollar. VIX starting to turn around. People are starting to wake up that, hey, maybe we need protection from the downside, and so I would expect VIX sort of to track up this direction. That's it, guys. Fun times. Jobs data next on tomorrow night, and then next week CPI. So hold on to your hats. It's going to be a wild ride.